Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Selling the Hit, which you always wanted to know about the stunt industry panel in memory of Eric Kahiwat. We have some fantastic panelists that are going to be with us today. They will be answering some questions for me mostly, since you're watching this virtually. Well, let's just jump into the intros. Our first member of our panel has been seen all over the place in Supergirl, Fear the Walking Dead, NCIS Los Angeles, The L Word, Teachers, The Orville, American Horror Story, Modern Family, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D, Agent Carter, the list goes on. And her bio specifically says, many women dream of being swept off their feet, but it's a rare breed indeed that would like it to involve the front fender of a moving car. Everyone, please applaud and welcome Tammie Baird.
Hi, everybody.
Yay. Welcome.
As you were reading them, I'm like, is this me? Because Joette and I are very similar in our show. So I was like, wait, no, I think this one's me.
Don't let people know that Joette is here. Our next panelist has been a stunt woman on Fear the Walking Dead, Agent Carter, Future Man, Criminal Minds, and is the stunt double for Rebel Wilson. Please welcome Joette Nicole Ormon.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Yes.
See, a lot of the same credits.
I know, it's fun. I always run into Tammie. I know it's going to be a good day on set when she's there.
Oh.
All right. Our next panelist wrote his own. He's the coolest, nicest guy you've ever seen. From such classics as Jordan Peele's Us and Sharknado 4, dying at least 4 times in the same scene in the first-person horror Pandemic, you might have seen him at Knott's Berry Farm in a Wild West stunt show, or rappelling from the catwalk and lighting dudes on fire at Universal Studios Hollywood. Don't even ask him about his Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, because he'll never shut up about it. Please welcome Michael DeCamp. Woo!
Hi, how you doing? It was a wonderful intro.
It was awesome. Well written.
Yes, very good intro, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Our next panelist is 33 years old. He started his entertainment career with Disneyland. He was a high school athlete, CrossFit competitor, an amateur power lifter, obstacle tester for Titan Games. We'll get into that later. He's been on Last Ship, Homecoming, Homeland, SEAL Team, Mandalorian. He's an avid D&D player and also played Batman for Make-A-Wish. Please welcome Justin Chavers, everybody.
Yeah. Still like the can't spell.
All right. And our final panelist, who was here and then left for suspense and then came back. Has been a stunt woman on 911, American Horror Story, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and specifically Black Panther, Infinity War, and Endgame as the stunt double for Danai Gurira. Please welcome Janeshia Adams-Ginyard, everyone.
Yay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I've got some questions. We're going to keep this nice and easy since people are going to be enjoying this at home whenever they want. And if they find us boring, they'll probably just skip it.
Fair enough.
All right, so I'm going to throw out a couple of quick standard questions to everybody, which is, how did you get into stunts? Let's start with Mike, since he specifically mentioned, sounds like Mike specifically mentioned theme parks. Let's dive into you. Michael DeCamp, take it.
Well, I pretty much just fell into it, but
Wow.
I'll see myself out.
No.
I started as an actor studying theater at University of California, Irvine, and then I had a friend who was one of my teachers at UCI who said, hey, I do this Wild West stunt show over at Knott's Berry Farm, and kind of got me an audition there. And so I auditioned for Knott's Berry Farm. I'd always been kind of like an active guy. I did tumbling and a little bit of martial arts. And so got a job there doing the stunt show. And then naturally you're around stunt people, despite being an actor. Now you're around stunt people. So you like, well, this is where the work is. Let's do more stunts and see where it goes. And things kind of just expand from there.
That's awesome. I love that.
Joette. What about
I have a similar story. I was in the circus back in the day, and somebody told me, hey, come on over to Bob Yerke's backyard, which is a stuntman that most stunt people have gone through his backyard at some point in time if you've been around for a long time. And I was training circus in his backyard, and he's like, hey, you know, come down here and throw some punches. I'm like, yeah, I don't really know if I'm into that. But I did. I started and I never looked back. I absolutely loved it, and that's what I do full time now. Although I still play around in the circus. I started in the Redlands Youth Circus, the YMCA Circus, which is a really fantastic program that has kids from, I think, 3 years old all the way up through graduation, and they do some really incredible stuff. So shout out to the Redlands YMCA.
Awesome.
Chavers?
Yeah, I have a musical theater background, took that in college, and I wanted to work in entertainment, so I flew from Florida to California to work for Disneyland, and did a couple of characters for that. And then a buddy of mine, should I say his name? Who got me into stunts?
Sure.
Our Stearman.
Hey.
Said, hey man, you got a good look for this show called Pirates Dinner Adventure. And I'd seen Pirates before, and thought it was a weird show because I was a medieval times guy. But ended up going to Pirates and auditioning for that, and getting cast, and learning high falls and stage fighting and all that stuff. And then went to Knott's and different live shows and just picked up different training stuff from there and loved it. You know, just totally got my athletic muscles working and my acting muscles working, and it was great, and I was hooked for life.
Nice.
Yeah, I was the gypsy when you came in, and I thought you were pretty weird coming from that other show too.
Tammy, go ahead.
Yeah, you were.
I wanted to be an actor. It's all I've ever wanted to be. Well, I wanted to be a model and a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader for a hot sec. But I wanted to be an actor, and I moved to LA, and I booked a stunt acting job, and it was getting shot. Then when the squibs went off, it's like everything just changed. I call it, I've said this so many times, but it's true. I call it my Tennessee Williams cat on a hot tin roof moment minus the booze, is that it just, everything changed, and it was like, this is where you're supposed to go. So then I segued into stunts, and it took me quite a long time to become or taken seriously, because they're like, oh, that's not an actor. I was like, no, but look at, I've been working out. And as Joette mentioned earlier, Bob Yerkes, going to his backyard and training and learning everything. And so, and this kind of touches on a little bit, I think, of what Michael said earlier. It's just like, you never know where your path's going to lead you. It's just all these great opportunities, and they send you to where you're supposed to be, which for me is stunts.
Very cool.
Yeah, but I haven't rolled out acting, please. If any producers are come on. Yeah.
I'm noticing a trend here. We're all failed actors.
I know.
Oh, we're not failed.
We
No, my last stunt job, I was supposed to do a stunt and ended up doing the hardest acting job of my whole life and never ended up doing a stunt.
Nice.
Awesome. Love to
the
hear
dream
about
right
that.
That was an easy day, Joe.
Yeah, right? Didn't hurt physically, that's for sure.
Hey, Janeshia, what's your story?
So I got into acting through my athletic background first. I did collegiate track. Well, I did track and field through my entire life as a youth. I did collegiate track and field at Cal, Go Bears, Pac-10, not WAC-12, anyways. And so from there, and then from there, I started doing acting. I acted first on commercials, and I was always like the jock on different shows. And I was like, wow, you know, I could actually really use my athletic ability and do stunts. And so I transitioned that way after I was on the national bobsled team. I trained at a gym that's no longer there, but it was called White Lotus. And that was where like a lot of people who are my friends now today started. And, you know, I was doing basic, that's where I had to learn my basic tumbling, because I knew that if I wanted to do stunts, I had to have like air awareness. So I took up gymnastics, basic tumbling, trampoline, stuff like that, because I did my research. But that's basically how I transitioned into stunts. My athletic background coupled with starting and acting first, and then it was kind of like this perfect marriage that took some years before I got my first stunt job.
Fantastic.
Wait, there's a such thing as a perfect marriage? Just kidding.
In my ideal world, there is, Tammie.
Different stunts. Joette mentioned, you know, that she ended up getting it was one of the most difficult acting jobs that she's ever done. But let's talk about some of the most difficult stunt jobs you've done. And I think this is a great segue, considering that Tammie loves to be hit by cars.
Yeah.
For some reason. So Tammie, A, why? B, how did you find that out?
So I'll first say I don't do car hits anymore. I do miss them, and there is a sensation, something that I'm sad that I may never get again, and that is when I break the windshield and my shoulders just going through it. Like, it's that moment. It's just a second right before I get spit off the car, or if I'm supposed to go over, whatever. But usually when I break a windshield, I'm going to get spit off. So, and there's something about that sensation. I just love it so much. And I love it. I love getting hit by cars. It's the dance. It's, you know, the car and the driver are my dance partner, and we just flow together. And when it's done right, it's like, the perfect marriage.
The perfect marriage. See, you got one in you too. You got one in you too, Tammie.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Who else has a particular stunt that they either love or they thought was particularly difficult somewhere along the way?
I got one, and this is piggybacking off of Tammie. Tammie, I just did my first car hit recently, and I had the opposite reaction.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It was a divorce.
It was for some I don't know, some experimental thing. And there's no great way to train car hits, right? So in your first car hit, like you go to the gym and you have pads and stuff, but you really just kind of have to do the thing. And like we say, we're all really actors who do stunts. And so I always describe it as two brains. There's one brain that the stunt guy's like, all right, we're gonna do this car hit. And the other brain, that's the normal human going, what the heck are you doing? This is really dumb. Please walk away. And up until that moment where you hit the windshield and you break the windshield, like, I'm gonna die. And then you break the windshield, like, oh, I'm okay. All right, I guess that was fun.
So I wish I could have spoken to you beforehand, because the way I learned, so I accidentally got hit by a car walking to school my freshman year. Who knew?
That's how you learned. Wow.
Gonna lead me
You
here.
learned on the job.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just trying to be a freshman. But when I got into stunts and I did my first car hit, I was so lucky. Stuntman Sean Crowder, he actually walked me through step by step by step, and he was so amazing. He had this POS truck, and so he didn't care if I dented it. But he started by having, like, I'd be here, and he would drive up to me super slow, or fast, and I couldn't flinch. But he'd have a safe distance because he's an amazing driver. I mean, you could trust him anything in a car, and he's hit me for work. He's hit me twice on 2 car hits. But and he really broke it down for me, so where my muscle memory was so solid. So whenever someone calls me and says, hey, I got to do a car hit, I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. And I know everyone else has talked, but I do want to show you guys this later. This is my first car hit, and it's a step by step by step. So I'll show it later. So
Is that from your freshman year?
Pardon?
Is that from your freshman year?
No,
I can't believe somebody got that.
That's
amazing.
Professional car hit on NCISLA.
That's cool.
But we'll get into that later. So
Nice.
everybody else talk.
Fantastic.
So my favorite was getting thrown out of a car. So it's kind of the opposite of what you guys were doing. We were having a fight
Yeah, I
and
don't
someone
like
would be kidnapped, and I was fighting Halle Berry's character, and we were, my character was the unfortunate end of getting, booted out on the road. So that was my fun one.
I don't like this. I don't like jumping out of the car. I'm like, why jump out of a perfectly good car? It's why I don't skydive either. I'm like, nah.
I want to get hit by a car.
Oh, I want you to. I want you to.
Just say something bad to your wife.
No, no. It has to be on a show like NCIS/LA, or you want a good high rating show so you get awesome residuals off of it.
Fair enough.
Make it worthwhile.
Make those count. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the
Mike's
scariest-
already done his freebie one. Now your next one needs to be full scale. Okay.
Oh, it wasn't freebie. It was
Well,
SAG ultra low, but
Yes, I shouldn't have said freebie. I want it to be a network show.
Gotcha.
there you go.
You get those residuals. That's what I want. I just want money for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I want money
Don't we
too.
all?
Yeah.
You're not special, Mike. We all want money.
I
Yeah,
know.
we do quarantine stunts.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Yeah.
You got one
I
that was
think my worst stunt is I actually have motion sickness.
And that's awesome. That's funny.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
So I was in a powered parachute with the little go-kart and the motor behind and the big parachute on top, doubling a guy on Auction Hunters.
Mhm.
And guys, the pilot is supposed to, take us up like 1,000 feet, and just kind of get, B camera shots of us like out and about. And he's like, all right, we're going to do a barrel, like a dive bomb, just straight down. I'm like, all right, cool, let's do this. Ready? He's like, I've made grown men cry before. I'm like, nah, I got this. Like, I'm all good. Let's do this, right?
Uh-huh.
So we start, he reaches up, pulls down the parachute, right? And we start doing this thing straight down towards this like rock quarry, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah, woo, like going nuts. And he pulls up and my stomach goes, fuck. And I start doing this, right? I'm like, okay, I think they got enough on camera. I think we're good now. I almost passed out. We landed. The actor runs over to me and goes, hey, how are you feeling? I go, I just need a minute. I need a minute. So that was the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad you didn't vomit.
Mhm.
All right. Here's a question that I've asked before, but I think is especially kind of interesting. And then I'm going to go specifically to Joette. Joette, you, in being Rebel Wilson's double, is there a difference in how you approach a stunt for comedy versus a stunt for drama or action?
I suppose there is. Yes, there's a difference, and I really enjoy it. It's different and the same, I guess, because you break down your script, you break down your action, and you do what works best in it. The difference between, say, comedy and action or something a little bit more violent per se, is that the creativity can be more fun, and it turns out, people are laughing instead of like, "Ooh, did that hurt?" Or I'm explaining that not so great, but so I really loved working with Rebel because I could talk to her beforehand and be like, okay, here's what's going on. What do you want to see? And sometimes she'd say, hey, it'd be really cool if you could try this particular thing. Or sometimes she'd say, hey, go do whatever you want to do. And at the end of the, yay or nay, you like it, you don't like it, try something else or this or that. And most of the time she was really thrilled, and I was really thrilled working with her. So I think that was really fun.
Very cool. Tammie, you've got a little bit of experience there as well. How do you approach a stunt differently depending upon the genre?
Yeah, I sort of. So yeah, when I know I'm doing something stunt that is comedy, I know my reactions could be a little bit bigger, like especially if it's for like a kids show. Like if I'm running and I'm getting thrown into lockers, it's more of a splat, whereas I might be a little tighter if it was like NCIS/LA or CSI or something like that, those kind of shows. But yeah, kind of what Joette said is you can have a little bit more fun when it's a comedy because, it's that slapstick, be silly kind of thing. So I do love when I get to do comedy stuff. And that's one of the things, like when I double Sofia Vergara, we do a lot of funny stuff for our stunts. So yeah.
How did they go about the changing you to look like, to be the same body type as Sofia Vergara?
Because she's gorgeous. Thank you. I'm insulted.
That's not what I'm
No,
saying.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No,
Body
our
type
bodies
that
are
you do.
similar.
You
It's
are
our
rail
face.
thin.
No, it's our face. Our bodies are pretty spot on. It's our face. She's gorgeous, and I'm working with Liz. But yeah, no.
Not accepting this, not at all.
Yeah. So body wise, amazing, and I'm so fine with that. I mean, I wish I looked like Sofia, but we can't be twinsies. But as long as I hide my face, and her hair is lighter than mine is now. Like when I first started doubling her hair was the same color as mine, so we could use my hair. But I have to be wigged now because her hair's lighter.
Gotcha.
But that's right. I have a smoking bod like Sophia.
Yes, you do.
You can't tell when it's her and when it's me.
I was saying it was you're more slender. She is curvy.
No. I mean, she has a better booty. Yeah, she has a better booty.
Joette, what was there anything that you had to go for Rebel? Did you have to put on a suit?
I did, yes. And the first movie was particularly interesting because they wanted a suit that matched her body proportions and size, everything exactly. So they took exact measurements of her, and then they took the exact measurements of me and made a rubber body to make up the difference. The only problem is this rubber body had absolutely zero give. Like, I could not bend my hips. I could not sit down without like halfway leaning backwards and falling over, and people had to help me like bounce into this body. It was really, getting into the body was a stunt in itself. It was really, really tough. I want to say the hardest stunt I ever did was doing work. I had to go through an obstacle course. And so that was, but I couldn't use half of my body. Like, it was having to do front flanges for almost anything to try and get up and over. So that was, it was really fun, but it was also a huge challenge thanks to to that. So I solved the problem on the last day by ripping some of it out.
Nice.
Hey, Janesia's back.
Look, I told y'all, this internet is crazy. It just went haywire.
Well,
still going haywire.
Haywire. Crazy. I cannot with this internet.
We did not hear most of what you said just now, Jen, but
Oh my God.
to you anyway.
But you look great.
Yeah, you still working it, girl.
Monumental films of all time being in Endgame. What was that like?
Oh my God, that was insane. So just all those first of all, part of my vision board, Marvel in general. And then to be a part of basically the best action superhero franchise and having all those superheroes on one set was, I'm not gonna lie, it was overwhelming and it was insane, but it was amazing.
Nice.
I would say the best part that I had about that was probably how cool everybody was and seeing all the doubles, because I was the Okoye double, so you basically saw at least two. Some of the heroes had multiple doubles, like 3 or 4, but it was really cool seeing the doubles all around and stuff. Was that part of the question?
Sure.
Okay. I was trying to answer the question 2 questions ago.
I asked you several questions while you were gone. You just didn't respond.
I always love when you see photos of the stunt double with the actor.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's spot on. You're like, oh my God, you guys are twinsies. And then other times it's like, the body's perfect, or you'll get a crazy, wig or something like that. But because we don't have the same face as the actor, but the rest of us are. I love side-by-side photos. Love that. I love that you brought that up.
Can I say this?
Hold on. Oh, yes, real quick.
So speaking of doubles, Tammie made me think about it. So my double, we actually have the same birthday. Different year, but we actually have the same birthday. Valentine's Day.
All right.
That's so cool. Your love babies.
We have another guest that is coming in right now. I will do a very quick intro for the guest. Because he's known for training A-list stars to do stunts, specifically swordplay. He's trained Brad Pitt, Nathan Lane, Natalie Portman, Paul Rudd, Ben Kingsley, Madonna, Sandra Bullock, and Anne Hathaway, just to name a few. Yay! Brian Ganner is here, everyone!
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Brian.
Oh,
hey.
Thank you for joining us.
Man, everybody looks so handsome in their apocalypse outfits.
Thank
I've
you.
got my Corona beard going on.
I was gonna say pajama.
Swag
Yeah.
on
And I've
it.
got my
So you got a little Jimmy Kimmel's thing going on. I think you're a better host.
Oh, thank you so much. He's better at
Sure, yeah.
technology than I am.
Says who?
All right, so Brian, give us the story of your most favorite stunt you did and the most favorite person you worked with.
I mean, everyone that I've worked with has been pretty sensational. There's like one or two that obviously we don't like to be disparaging about, but like I've been really fortunate to work with people who just they show up, they want to do it. You know, you're putting a sword in someone's hand, and it might be the first time ever. So that's an exciting thing that, you know, is in everybody's history. Not everybody has a history of like guns or missiles or airplanes, but every culture at one point picked up a sharp stick or a stone and tried to stab someone with it. So it binds us together a little bit. But one of the close things that I've personally done is earlier in my career, we started off on the History Channel doing some of the shows that built in reenactments, and I did a show called The Last Stand of the 300, and it aired either the night before or the night after 300 did, and that movie really kind of helped the zeitgeist of making our show popular. But for those of you who don't know at home or watching, I don't stand any taller flat-footed than 5'5". So I doesn't bother me. It hasn't limited my career in any shape or way, but you know, because of that, I've had to, it's way lower. Mike's like, you come up here, like that's probably up to here, any big guy. But I landed the role of Leonidas, King Leonidas, standing 5'5". So
Wow.
the fights that we built in that are near and dear to my heart, because it was early on in me having built my stunt team of sword fighters. But one of the funniest moments is if you watch me like leading the troops, it's just a simple marching scene, and all my guys are like 6 foot plus, and I'm standing like in line with them, and I'm marching and marching. What they had done is they had built a whole collar, a whole row of apple boxes that I'm marching on. But in the outtakes, like I'm marching with them and I'm marching along, and then in the outtakes, I step off the apple boxes and I just the rest of them are like that. So I have that video somewhere, but like I look back at that, and while it might not be a stunt, there's plenty of stunts in my stunt. I look back at that and I think, you know, nothing should limit you. Nothing should stop you from doing what you want to do. It doesn't matter what your size is, what your color is, what your religious belief or sexual orientation or identification. You've got to forge forward. It doesn't matter if Batman is 6 feet, go be Batman. It doesn't matter if, you know, like go be the hero that you want to be. And if people aren't hiring you to do it, then make your own stuff, man. Like get out there and just kick in the doors until it gets done.
Fantastic.
Sure.
Yeah,
That was awesome. Yeah, great answer.
Thanks.
That leads me into another question of who's does anyone have any stories of someone that they doubled that they looked absolutely nothing like? I mean, being, you know, well, we obviously don't know exactly what Leonidas looked like, but that's still pretty funny.
He looked like this.
Yeah.
Same headphones, same Avengers hat.
No, I feel like I'm always the same height as my actresses.
What's that?
Yeah,
Like?
so no.
I
I would
doubled.
say, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, going off what Tammie was saying, I'm kind of always like the same height as my actors, but size-wise is always, we're not ever the same size. And so if you were to see us like standing side by side, if I don't have on like a muscle suit or any, and then a very like bigger person than me. So
She's not stroking out right
again,
I hope not.
Yeah.
now. Janeshia, do you smell toast?
Joette, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, well,
Taste
normally my people I double are a little bit bigger than me in different ways, so I have a variety of paddings that I have experienced. However, once I doubled a girl who was nearly 6 feet tall, and she was considerably larger than me. There were two doubles. It was myself and Devin McNair. If anyone knows Devin, she and I, like if she and I were standing next to each other, it would be like there's no similarity here whatsoever. But it was a really great time. Most of the time, you know, mine was the vehicle stunts, and she did the actual standing up next to the actress. But
Brian,
yeah,
it can sometimes be a little bit of a for lack of a better term, taboo subject when we talk about that, because not often, but every once in a while there might be a case where someone doesn't look like that person for perhaps reasons of skill set. Like if there's not like the industry has really made huge strides, but still not enough in making sure that stunt people are the right gender, stunt people are the right skin color or ethnicity or nationality. Our community has really been great at leaping forward, but like just like the world, we can always do better. Like, I mean, I have one in mind. I doubled Aziz Ansari, who I'm completely, I don't look anything like.
No.
But the caveat was it was a fencing scene, so I'm completely masked. I'm in white fencing gear from literally underneath the bib of the mask all the way down to the tips of my toes. The only thing that was exposed was my left hand, my non-weapon hand, because you wear a glove on your right hand. And I kept that kind of fairly hidden because I wasn't fully comfortable with it, but like he was so wonderful about it, as were the rest of the people on that set. So I think that would be the only case that right now in 2020 I would feel comfortable. If someone was completely covered, or like if it was a creature mask or something like that, then I don't see that it's much of a big deal. But we are working harder to move forward. Would everybody agree that we've made some progress at least?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Although I just did a mocap gig and I was doing the stunts for a 7-foot-tall Polynesian woman.
Well, yeah.
So
I think mocap's an exception.
I'm just saying, I had to get in touch with my side that
Well, you move different. I tried to do that on Halo 4, and I was doubling this character Gek. So okay, yeah. So I have doubled somebody that I look nothing like, but I'm not a guy, and guys move differently. So it was kind of a stretch. It was hard for me. I had to like, ay. So yeah. So you have to be a woman. Ooh.
apparently I already had a feminine quality about me. So whatever.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We're gonna see if Janeshia can join us real quick back again, but we should start wrapping it up. So I'll tell you what. Why don't we go round robin and let's talk about what advice would you give to somebody who's trying to get into the stunt industry now? And by now, I don't mean in the era of COVID-19. I mean just now, in general, assuming that movies will ever be made again.
Brian, do you want to go first? Can you stay, or I mean, do you need to get
I
out?
can stay to the end, Tammie. You
Okay.
go ahead and take the lead here.
Okay. My advice to a new stunt person would be, the obvious: learn as much as possible, yada yada. But I'm going to focus on on-set etiquette. And I think if you're getting into our industry, once you're on set, be quiet and just listen to everything that the OGs, the senior stunt people, have to tell you, and just watch everything. One of my pet peeves, and I did this when I first got into stunts, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, hi everybody, my name's Tammie. Blah, blah, blah. So, but I learned quickly to calm down and just to listen to people. Like, I'm so blessed when I get to work on a set with Terry Leonard, who is a legend. I don't talk at all, and I'm a talker. So my advice to them would be to just be quiet and learn everything and watch everything. And when I say learn everything, not only in our department in stunts, but learn how to edit your own stunt reel, learn how to sell your camera angles, and just really think about things, because maybe stunts is where you want to be, but maybe you're going to one day be a coordinator, a producer, a director. So that would be my advice to anybody coming into the industry, is just shut your mouth and watch. Great advice.
Very cool. Mike,
Joette.
why don't you go for it?
Well, Tammie had the perfect answer there. Listening and being patient and be nice to everybody. It doesn't matter if you're the most talented person in the room, but if you're just nice and calm and easy to be around, hopefully people will want to hire you more. That's really all I got going for myself. Be safe. Don't do things you can't do, as simple as that sounds. Also, the whole fake it till you make it thing, across the board, everything all of us will tell you is good stuff for acting and dancing and singing anywhere in entertainment. But the fake it till you make it thing, definitely don't do it in stunts. Don't lie on your resume. Don't fluff. Even if your resume is tiny, but it's true, people will respect you more, because that comes out. And there's a lot of people we know who have faked stuff and said, I can do this, and then come on and either do a bad job or can't do it. And like, you never see those people again. So
Agreed.
yeah, just be safe and be honest, because in acting, you can get away with it and people won't like you. But in stunts, if you lie about something, you could get yourself hurt or you could get me hurt. And none of us want that.
Yeah.
So just be truthful and be nice and be patient.
Very cool. Joette,
Absolutely.
what
I'm going
advice
to
would you give to somebody?
piggyback on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm going to piggyback on that just a little bit and say, on top of being honest, you need to know yourself. You need to really know your skills, know what you have to offer, and know what you need to work on, and do that. Don't just always say, oh, this feels good because I know it. Take yourself out of the comfort zone. Go somewhere where it's a little bit more challenging, because I can almost guarantee you're going to get something out of it that you wouldn't otherwise.
Very cool. Janeshia, we were talking about what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out?
Oh, okay. That's an awesome question. I feel like
What she says is,
so, but no, great question. So this is what I would tell people, and this is what I have told people, is to never be afraid of saying no. We're in an industry where people feel like they can't be honest, or they have to give in to the pressure. And it's always best to be honest about your skill set. If you can swim, you can swim. If you can't, you can't. It's not like, I think I can, let me try it out the day before. No, it's not how it works. So when you're honest, you're able to have a dialogue that gets created. So maybe the guy's like, you know, can you swim? You're like, yes, but what do you need? Do you need me to be Natalie Coughlin? Because I can't be Natalie Coughlin, but I could be the girl at the park who's not gonna drown. So you know what I mean? So it just creates a dialogue with your coordinator, and it keeps you safe and everybody else safe, because we are in a business that is stunt and safety. People forget that sometimes. So that's kind of what I would say.
Very cool.
Yeah, just be honest and transparent too. That helps.
Chavers, it looked like you were trying to chime in. You got anything? You looked like one strike.
well, sure. I mean, I honestly, we've talked about the honesty, you know, and all that, the etiquette on stage or on
Where
set.
should they go first to start learning stuff?
That's what I was going to talk about. So for me, so a lot of the big cities, Orlando, Atlanta, New York, Los Angeles, get involved with live shows. Get involved with classes like Brian. Brian teaches all types of different classes, you know, sword fighting, martial arts. Get involved with that. You know, networking is a big part of stunts. Not only is your skills matter, but your business and marketing side as well too. So knowing how to sell yourself is a big part of this industry. So yeah, but live shows, you can start. You can learn a lot from live shows, which will, you know, propel your knowledge into what, you know, your uses are for on set.
I agree with Justin, right?
Yes, thank you.
You guys, okay, I can't tell you guys can hear me because my stupid computer. But to add on to that, you know how you mentioned about the classes with the stunt and the martial arts, I would add to that and say acting classes as well, because there's several times, because what we're doing is we're action acting. That's kind of what we're doing. We are acting in movement. And so I would say if you get some acting classes under your belt, then when they call you on set that day and they need you to deliver a line, you don't freeze up. You're like, oh my God, I don't know how to act. I just know how to get whipped and blown off of a wire. You know what I mean? So I think if you add some basic acting into that too, it would totally help.
Very cool. Brian, you got anything you want to say?
Yeah, I think the two rules that I really sort of try to pass on to anyone who's interested is the first one is there's room for everybody. If you follow what all my colleagues here said, there's room for everyone, even if you have an identical skill set to someone else who's like way far in their career. Think of how much gets made in this town, in Atlanta, in Canada, all over the world. There's room for everybody. So you have to accept that if you work hard enough and you persevere and you listen to the good advice that people are giving you, you're going to find that golden ticket eventually. How you take that ticket and turn it into opportunity to continue to work is up to you based on what everyone said here. The other thing is you have to, and this is one that's personal to me, because I tend to be a little bit more of of a loner in what I do. Like I like my private time and working on things, working through choreography with maybe just a select few. But you have to remember that every single set that you get to, every single training circumstance, you have to be a team player. There's a lot of I'm sure everyone's experienced. There's a lot of jockeying for position to impress a stunt coordinator or to get to the top or to be seen, and that sort of level of insecurity can really quickly turn into backbiting. Like maybe a coordinator needs a thing fast, and he has a group of people on his or her team that they trust, and they say, okay, go put that thing together. And then everyone starts, jumping in with opinions and what's the best fight move or what's the best way to fall off this building and everything like that. You have to let the hierarchy be what it is. You have to let the coordinator call the shots, the assistant coordinator to back him or her up, and sort of what Tammie says, speak only when spoken to, but like just be careful with how much you're willing to push past others. And I regrettably have made that mistake. So the third thing is, you have to learn from the things that you've gotten wrong. I've gotten a shit ton wrong, admittedly. And I'm working in the autumn years of my life to try to redeem or get back or learn from. And as is everyone else, if you make a mistake, then it's not permanent. You can fix things by being humble, or you can fix things by apologizing. You fix things by going back and realizing. So many great we have so many great specialists in our field who weren't that at some point, and they made a mistake and then they became that, or they pursued that and then they became that. So there's room for everyone. Keep your spirits up, keep kicking indoors, and if there's not opportunity, you have to make your own.
Very cool. Excellent.
I love kicking indoors. I was like,
that's right, yeah.
Falling through them, being thrown through them. All right, guys. Before we wrap up real quick, I want to explain to our audience what the title of our panel is. This panel was actually created by a good friend of many of ours. His name was Eric Kahiwat. It's a couple summers ago, he passed away and he's no longer with us. So we named the panel after him to kind of show tribute. So something we always say, which is something that Eric once said when doing this panel, 1 hour panels can seem long to me when you're sitting there, but when you're giving the panel, especially with these fine people, it just doesn't seem quite like enough time. So I just want to thank all of our panelists. We have Justin Chavers, wave please, sir. We have Joette, wave please. Joette Nicole Ormon, wave please. There you go. Tammie Baird, wave please. Michael DeCamp, wave please. Ryan Danner, wave please. Janeshia Adams-Ginyard, wave please. Wakanda forever. Thank you so much for joining us, you guys. We will see you hopefully live in person at WonderCon. Have a great day, everybody. Everybody wave.
Love to everyone. Bye. Everybody stay safe.